Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be exploring a new weapon, and that is the spear. A weapon I've overlooked for a long time, as most of my gameplay has been with dual wield. As you just saw there, the spear has the incredible ability to block, and it can block quite nicely. And I've been recently using this weapon like crazy, almost every day as much as I can, for the few hours that I have. Now, running into lobbies with a gray spear is not a lot of fun, but you do learn a lot about the weapon. So this is what I've kind of theory crafted now as being something I'm going to put to test in the new wipe and beyond. I think as a solo fighter, I'm struggling a lot with rangers, struggling with PvE, which we'll talk about in a bit as well. But the spear kind of does everything quite nicely if you can learn the spacing. So I'm going to run more of an agi build as you're seeing here. And this is very early days. This is just me messing around with some items to see. You can get up to 20% damage resist with some pretty light gear. And then you can combo that with combo attack, which is your only real damage modifier damage thing you get on the fighter class. Sure, you can use victory strike, but it's super inconsistent. But I'm using swift here when I get a bit of gear, because it does give you like 7 or 8 movement speed, which isn't horrible. Considering some of your other options, it does help. Spacing is everything, and then you have projectile resistance and counterattack. Like I just mentioned, spacing is everything. So counterattack, if you can land a block, is hugely beneficial in those small little moments. You could run barricades, so anytime you're blocking, you do get the 50 armor rating, which would give you about 30% reduction, or maybe a little more, while you're blocking. However, you don't really have the riposte like longsword, so not much you can really do with that, and I prefer running counterattack for the movement speed and action speed. Action speed is what's going to give you your damage through combo attack, and adrenaline rush can also help with that. So I use adrenaline rush just to burst people down, and I'll give you some examples of this PvP setup in a moment. However, starting out, especially with some of the med changes, second wind is top tier. It's incredible, and with the spear you can kind of allow yourself the space away from opponents, so giving yourself more chance to get second wind and some of the heals from second wind off. But my plan is to go full agility. And like I said earlier, combo attacks most of your damage, especially if you're avoiding strength and going for an agility build. So you really want to make sure your active speed's high enough to land that third and final swing, which pops the damage up on a gray spear to 70. On a green or blue, you're hitting, I think, 90 or 100 plus. And that is why I'm using Adrenaline Rush as well. You basically want to be destroying people as fast as possible. The whole idea of this build is to get your action speed up as fast as possible, meaning you can switch weapons faster, swing faster, do just put anything faster. You get up to 6 action speed on 21 agility, which is a pretty low amount of gear. I could bump that even more with the tailor pants and agility gloves. Also, not to be forgotten as well is the fact that you get some regular interaction speed, and by some I mean 16%, which is quite nice. Opening doors or chests or any of those things on fighter class can be basically what kills you or does you in. So, having agility means you can move through the map a little bit faster. And as a solo player, you will find yourself in those situations where you just need to get away from combat as fast as possible. Last thing I will mention is these rings have armor rating on them. A couple of them do. And then putting on the heavy pants gives you almost 30% damage reduction, which isn't terrible considering the new changes to fighter class. Alright, so one of the main reasons why I want to play Spear more often is because of the fact you can deal with PvE a little bit better. This is my first time fighting Skeleton Champion with the Spear, and you can see it's not going swimmingly. But learning its movements and blocking is hugely beneficial, as you can get a spear stab in after one of those blocks. If you try to go for double swing, you can't block quite as fast. So, just one tap, then block. In this situation, we just go all in on this guy. Trying to block his overhead. We should have been blocking the left side instead. But the main reason why I'm showing you this before the wipe is the fact that the best gear you can find in Goblin Caves is going to be from Skeleton Champion. First ever cape I got in this playtest was Skeleton Champion, as you're seeing here, and a Bardiche. So, if you can farm Skeleton Champion early, and Spear allows that to happen way easier. This guy was just blocking in a door, doing whatever. But if you don't want to do that, or you get yourself in situations in other maps, like Howling Crypts, you can farm mobs a lot easier. Skeletons, you can keep them out of reach, and just about any mob in the game becomes trivial if you learn the block patterns. I'm not saying I'm amazing at it yet. Just saying, I want to learn how to do it because it's going to help me a lot as a solo player. Moving away from the PvE element of this, let's talk a little bit about PvP and just the spear's potential in general. Dealing with barbarians can be a lot easier if you space yourself properly. The block also comes up huge as you learn it, and then he can't get close to me because of my spacing. That was close, but I'm not using amazing gear, and barbarians hit hard. I should have popped my adrenaline rush, which would have made blocking a little bit easier, and then the follow-up much faster. Would have simplified things a bit. However, Horseman's Axe Barbarian is just whoever can DPS each other faster. It is pretty crazy early on, and I think you will need some decent gear to deal with them. Another thing about blocking is the fact that you block much faster after the first attack, not the second attack on the spear. So, if you're going to just go in and poke people down with a single attack, try that first and then experiment with the block. But if you all in, just all in them. All 3 attacks as fast as possible, get that combo attack rolling. But if you do 2 swings with the spear, the first and second, your block comes out way slower. It's just the follow-up from that second swing is a lot slower. But like I said, spear is great at dealing with mobs. You don't have to get close to them at all, and if you want to mess around with blocking, go ahead. But the vertical attacks are extremely difficult to block unless you're, been practicing a bunch. And I will say, it gets incredibly frustrating trying to find spears when the vendors aren't selling them, and then having to go buy one for like 150, 200 G because there's like none for sale, and every ranger wants one. I wish they updated the store where a spear, at least a basic entry-level spear, was always available. Because I've spent hours sometimes waiting for the shop to change, and it's still not giving me a spear. Super frustrating. Also super frustrating are bolas because you don't have a clear window when they're spaced around a corner like that. I was kind of hoping this would be a health shrine, as sometimes a health shrine spawns here. But this speed shrine is going to come in very handy as I'm about to show you. Placing this campfire down, because it's basically the only effective full heal right now. We hear a guy close by. We're going to put another med up, maybe hit this bandage as quick as we can, and then see if we can all in this guy, depending on what we're dealing with around the corner. If it's a ranger, you just got to get in their face. And it is a fighter. Fighter in decent gear, so we're just going to rush this guy. We have so much movement speed, and Adrenaline Rush destroys this guy. Now, quickly checking this guy's gear shows that he was way more geared than I realized. Running full strength, some decent blue items, a blue recurve bow as well, you'll see. And he gets deleted very, very quickly. So his armor wasn't really helping him all that much. It also gave us a nice spear upgrade, which is pretty huge considering our green one does not have any strength on it. So, that is Adrenaline Rush Spear. If you're going to pop Adrenaline Rush, make the most of it. And you have to be super aggressive and push people as quickly as possible. Relying on, like I said, combo attack for your damage. And once again, Iron Mace has shined upon us because we ended up getting a portal right next to this guy's body. It was a very, very nice thing. Now, moving on to the weapon that's been giving me the hardest time blocking, which I didn't expect, was the falchion. It does have that horizontal swing. It's just really hard to read the hitbox, and I think my problem is I'm not spacing myself far enough back. So I'm trying to block like the closer to the handle when I should be trying to block the tip of it. You have to swing way left. And as you saw right there, it still hit me through it. And right there, it hit me through it as well. I think on the second one, I didn't have my block up quite fast enough, but that's even with Adrenaline Rush popped. So I decided to just all in the guy and kill him. But falchion, you have to swing so far left and so far right, it's crazy. Now, I've had very few instances where I've actually got to 1v1 a falchion user lately, because the only one using them are warlocks, and if you miss, you're basically dead. My big plan for the spear was being able to block falchions and canceling blow corruption right out of the game. And I'm so close. If I had to fight more people with falchions, I probably would have a lot better luck. But I think over the course of the last day and a half, I think I've seen 3 people using falchion. It's been almost all rogues and rangers and the odd barbarian with a giant axe. And yes, that giant axe can still absolutely cripple you when you're using absolutely no gear and a gray spear. So, the learning continues, and I'll try to update you guys on how this goes, but I will be using a lot more spear going forward in the upcoming wipe. I feel like it has the most potential for 1v1s, even though I love my dual wield and I think the burst damage on it is crazy. I just think overall, if I want to take my spear into Howling Crypts or farming stuff like Skeleton Champion or Wraith, I need to start learning spear block. And trust me, the last couple days or last day since I've been home, there's been a lot of dying to blue rapiers or purple rapiers as they just annihilate your 98 HP. Once again, thank you all. Love all your guys' feedback, and I'll see you in the next video. And I wish you all the best of luck on a new wipe. Starting from the ground up again is so exciting. Thankfully, some of this high-geared stuff will be able to Goblin Caves for a little while. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.